Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us, talking Warrior women's volleyball with Joe Getson. Let's talk a little bit about this weekend. It was maybe a little bit disappointing. I know that you were facing some of the top teams in the NSIC this weekend, and you knew that it was going to be difficult coming into this first NSIC weekend. How would you describe the matches this weekend?
Well, disappointing. Anytime that you're not on the winning side as a coach, you're a little disappointed. But in retrospect and looking back at the film, I thought we did some really good things. I think we learned a lot, and one of the things that we took as a takeaway is we've just got to be a little more consistent. There's no doubt we belong playing those teams and competing with those teams. We just didn't do a good job of the consistency in that. And, there's not much room for error when you're playing at that level. It's the best there is, and it's exciting, but you let up just a little bit and they don't. So we got to keep growing in that area.
In reading the wrap-ups of both St. Cloud State and Minnesota Duluth matches, it seems like kind of out of the gate you guys were in the game right away, and then maybe the opponent figured you out a little bit or stepped up saying, hey, we can't take Winona State very lightly. Is that fair?
Well, and I think that's something that we can be proud of is we weren't intimidated by them. We came out and played, I thought, really good volleyball to start. I think they made a couple adjustments. I don't think we adjusted back as quick. And then it just becomes a point here and a point there. And, we had gotten down 4 or 5 points and made runs to come right back even with them several times. But we just dug too big of a hole to do that. And we've just got to learn that we can't dig that hole to begin with, and then we'll be fine.
All right, so for St. Cloud State, you won one of the sets, and then they won the other 3, so they had a 3-1 victory. What did you learn from your team in that game against St. Cloud State?
Well, I think Madison Larson showed just what a force she's going to be reckoned with as she comes down the stretch here. And she was amazing out of the gates and really took charge of the match. And as a freshman to do that, that says a lot.
Yeah, 23 kills in that game, or in that match, did very well. And then you hit 455 in the first game and only had 1 error. So you had to be happy with that, at least that first game.
No, I mean, out of the gate, we looked really good. And, we closed that set out really just flawlessly and put that pressure on them. And I think that was the difference in, sets 2, 3, and 4. We were right there with them, and we didn't close them out. And we gave them a couple easy points, and they were able to hold on. And you end up losing by 2 or 3 here and there, and that's the difference in the match at this level.
Okay, let's move on then to Minnesota Duluth. They were the number 4 ranked team in the country when they played you. Talk about that game and maybe what you brought from the St. Cloud match into Minnesota Duluth.
Well, once again, we weren't intimidated by them at all. We came out of the gate really strong. I think we were up 5-1 just to start off. And I think that, once again, is showing that we can compete at that level and we have the talent to do that. They're a strong team. They don't make a lot of errors. They force you to do some things. And, I think, like I said, that's an area we've got to continue to improve upon, is just clean up the little things. And it's not much. It's not that we're far away. We've just got to fine-tune some things.
Well, and you mentioned they didn't make a lot of errors, but in the match against you, they actually made 1 more error than you did. So that's got to be something to hang your hat on, that you were able to force them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a matter of the errors that got to us this time. We weren't able to create enough kills. And, you know what I mean? They're a good defensive team, good blocking team. So we've got to keep creating kills. And, we didn't make errors, which is great. But when someone's coming back at you, you've got to make some kills.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about Becca Pagel, who's going to be our guest coming on in just a moment. We'll let you talk about her before she has a chance to talk about herself. She recently had her 1,000th career dig at Winona State. Pretty good number for her.
Oh, and especially this early in her career. She is, I feel, one of the best liberos in the league. And, I feel really fortunate that she chose Winona State. She had some Division I offers at the time. And I think she is continuing to grow into that role. I don't think she was really a full-time libero before she got here. So I think she's embracing that. We're seeing a lot more leadership from her as a junior than we did as a sophomore. So I think great things are in front of her.
We'll have her kind of discuss how she sees the role of libero, but how do you see it? What are you looking for in a libero? Because you had to transform her into a libero, basically.
Well, she was an all-around player. She could play outside, she could set. What the libero is in volleyball is a full-time back row specialist, basically. And they wear a different jersey just so that the referees can identify them. They don't count as substitutions for you. So in our system right now, they're coming in and out for the middle blockers when the middles come to the back row. And with that, the whole reason volleyball added that was to add some excitement to the game and add a little bit more defense. The game had become really offensive, and they wanted to even that out a little bit, lengthen the rallies, and they definitely have done that. So my thought on the libero is we've got to win the first contact. And what I mean by that is we've got to pass the serve. And if you do that well, you're in what we call system, and then we run an offense off of that. If you don't pass, it becomes a really frustrating game because then no one really gets to hit well. So Becca is our best passer. And with that, then we are in system. We can run an offense. As the show goes on, we'll keep discussing what the offense is. Yeah. But she's a crucial part of what we do.
Okay, and you'll be coming up now. We got a couple of minutes left in this segment. Coming up in your first home matches of the season. Tell us how you match up against your opponents this weekend.
Well, first of all, it's just great to be home. We've been on the road 3 weekends in a row, and I think the kids really get worn down just because they're missing classes, and they stress on that. And you know, they're such great students that they put that first, which is great. So it's going to be nice to be home. We played Bemidji State first. They just took Concordia to 5 sets at their place, so they're not a light opponent, someone that we're going to overlook at all. And then we have the University of Crookston, so another good opponent. In this league, you better bring your A game or you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of the score. So it should be a really exciting weekend, and we hope to have a great fan base there to start supporting us. And now that we're at home, we're home on a more regular basis, we're excited to kind of show what we have.
All right, and one more little thing to get people in the stands. You're going to honor Becca for her 1,000.
We'll have a short ceremony just recognizing 1,000 dig. That's a big deal in the volleyball world to hit that mark, especially as early in her career as she has. So we'll do that on Friday.
All right, very good. Well, we're going to let Becca talk for herself in just a moment when she joins us here on the Warrior Report. That's right after this.
In the beginning, there was dial-up. Slow as syrup dial-up. When 3 megabits arrived, it felt like riding a cyclone with your hands in the air. Until 100 megabits sent you surfing with glee on a cavernous pipeline of bits and bytes. Which brings us to 1 gig. That's 1,000 megabits per second from HBC. We're about to break the internet speed barrier. Your home deserves the fastest internet. Get gigabit internet today from HBC. Internet redefined.
People assume we choose this life. Sometimes this life chooses us.
An emergency is the crazy chaos of life. In those moments of darkness, we choose to live. Because nobody has ever been saved alone.
911 returns this fall. If you missed an episode, catch up anytime on demand or Fox Now.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. Becca Pagel now joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about your high school career before we get into Winona State stuff. And you're from Sumner, Iowa.
Yeah.
And in high school, your mom was your volleyball coach.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that and that dynamic.
It was interesting. I'd never had that before, so it was hard sometimes going to practice and then going home and still having volleyball be the focus. Is kind of hard to get away from it at times, but I don't think I realized then how unique and cool that was to be able to share all those experiences and memories with her, and now I cherish that more definitely after I've graduated.
Was there a difference between your mom as a coach and mom as mom at home?
Yeah, definitely. My mom's very much she's just really down to earth and sweet, so she's very easy on me at home, but in practice she kind of had to, obviously she was very tough on me, which was kind of hard at times, but I think I did appreciate that as well, just because it was good for me to realize that she wasn't going to be my mom when she was my coach. She was just coach.
And volleyball wasn't the only sport that you played in high school. You played a number of different sports, right?
Yeah, I played volleyball, basketball, and track.
Okay, and how did volleyball become the focus? Was your mom kind of the driving factor in that?
I got into club when I was like in 5th grade. So I had always watched my sister when I was younger, and that just ultimately became like my favorite sport. I was more successful in that sport than the other ones, and just had more friends playing volleyball.
Okay, and then along the way in your high school days, you became you were a part of the Iowa Girls Coaches Association kind of All-Star Classic, right? Tell me about that game or that event. I guess it was 2 matches, right?
Right. So that's like when you're a senior, you get asked to go after you finish your season, which was pretty cool because I got to play with a lot of the top athletes in the state of Iowa from like all over that I hadn't met before, and just got to play against a lot of girls that play like D1 now, which was really cool for me.
All right.
Yeah.
And in the recruiting process, what did you see in Becca?
Well, I can vividly remember coming in, and she was supposed to come to camp, I think, at the end of her sophomore year, and something had come up, and she wasn't able to attend. And I remember being in Minneapolis watching her at one of the junior tournaments, and she was hitting outside, and I was just enthralled by this little water bug that got up and ripped at the ball and was tearing teams apart as an outside hitter. And I'm like, Nicole, why didn't she come to camp again? But we kept on it, and really saw just how dynamic she is in every aspect of the game. I mean, she could set, she could hit. I felt that she was going to be a really good libero.
All right, so talk about that. Now you're a libero instead of an outside hitter or a setter.
Yeah.
What was the transition into that, and how easy was it for you to adapt to that role?
Honestly, college was the first time I've really ever played libero. So I've definitely been like a DS before in club and things like that, but it was different being the person that is in the different jersey that has to take control of the backcourt like all the time, just because I had always been just the DS that had like a libero that was kind of like controlling the defenses and things like that. So it was definitely like I had to learn how to be a better leader and kind of step up and be the person who has to take more balls and kind of be in more rotations than I usually had.
All right. Now, for those of us who aren't very well schooled in volleyball, how would you overall kind of describe the libero and then what you do during a game? Because you can sub in and sub out different than other players.
Right. So I go in for both of our middle hitters. So I usually serve for one of them, and then I go out for like half of a rotation while they serve, and then I just run back in the court when they're done for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just running in and out usually.
All right. And then after this past weekend, obviously kind of difficult games, and now you get back into home action.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and about how nice it's going to be to finally get some home matches.
Yeah, we've been traveling a lot, so we're all really excited to have our first home game and have our fans and our families all there. And I think we're a little motivated after last weekend. That was tough, but we learned a lot from it, and I think we're really excited to go out this weekend and show all our fans and all our peers like what we can do, and we're really excited for this season.
All right, well, very good. Thank you for being here
Yeah,
today, and
thank
good
you.
luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk women's golf. That's coming up right after this.
Brand new kids, brand new challenges.
You know what that means.
A brand new season of Kids Baking Championship.
Most fun cake I've ever made.
Wow, am I excited to bite into this.
Topping your giant donut with regular donuts.
Yeah.
Those decorating skills are going to come out. Fun, right? Wow.
Wow.
Who will beat the competition to become
Kids Baking Champion?
All new Kids Baking Championship, Monday night at 9 on Food Network.
No matter how you connect, HBC delivers fast, reliable internet and secure Giga-Home Wi-Fi throughout your home for intense gaming, easy sharing, and buffer-free streaming on every device all at once with local experts ready to help. Connect to faster internet. Connect to GigaHome Wi-Fi. Connect to now. Call or click hbci.com to upgrade your internet today.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're now talking women's golf. Tiffany Abbott is here. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's introduce you to the Warrior crowd because this is your first year as women's golf head coach. You're from Omaha, Nebraska, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And then you went to Missouri Western. Tell us a little bit about your time at Missouri Western and your time playing golf in college.
Yeah, well, playing at Missouri Western, it was really a dream come true. That was my dream kind of growing up, to play collegiate golf and to kind of take it as far as I could. So really was just kind of a humble beginning. And, you know, I was a part of a team where, you know, they didn't really expect much of us, but we really wanted it. And you know, we worked really hard, and my sophomore year, I was able to help take our team to its first ever national championship. So to kind of have that experience and really be the underdog and just earn your way up just really helped me kind of instill that in the girls, that, you know, if you believe in something and you know, work hard enough, anything can happen. So.
And you had the birdie putt that secured a playoff round.
I did.
So tell me about that. Did you know at the time that that was the shot that was going to take your team farther?
I did not, but it was kind of a very surreal moment. It's kind of the moment that you kind of dream of as a kid, and you practice, you know, on the practice green, you know, this putt is for the national championship. And, you know, I remember walking up the 18th hole and seeing all the teams there, and my coach seemed very nervous, so I knew something was on the line, but luckily, I was able to make that putt and go to the Nationals. So.
All right. Let's backtrack even further. I mean, when did you first start getting involved in golf, and did you play any other sports besides golf?
I started pretty young. I was about 5 or 6. My dad got me into it pretty young, and I just remember watching Tiger Woods and Freddie Couples, and those were kind of my idols growing up. So in high school, I played basketball and ran track, but golf was kind of my passion, so that's kind of what carried me through all the way.
All right, and when did the first seed get planted that you wanted to be a golf coach after your golf career was over in college?
Golf has always been my passion, and I knew I wanted to be around it for the rest of my life. And I think, honestly, probably my junior or senior year in college, I didn't really tell anyone, because I was like, you know, as a woman, and I don't really fit the bill of a mean coach, or, you know, what a coach looks like, but it was my passion and kind of my dream that I kind of kept to myself, and worked for a year in the real world after college, and I thought about it almost every day and just realized that this was my passion and I wanted to chase it. So very grateful that I have this opportunity right now.
So looking back then, your junior, senior years in college, did you maybe consciously, unconsciously pay more attention to what the coach was doing, thinking that, you know, maybe someday that will be me and that's something that I want to do?
Yeah, for sure. I think especially up my junior and senior year, I really kind of looked at it from both angles of, you know, how my coach does things and how us as players, how we need to be coached as well. So just kind of looking at it from both angles, I think really helped me a lot to kind of see how can I best help this team that I have now, and if in the future that I did have that opportunity. So very lucky to have had that.
All right, and then how did you find out about Winona State and find out about the opening here?
We actually played against Winona State back when I was in school, I think maybe once or twice. But honestly, I just interviewed and applied every place that I possibly could, because I was like, this is what I want to do with my life, and was willing to go anywhere. And luckily, Jeff called me, and it worked out for the best. So.
Oh, all right. So how did you get ready for your first season? What were some things that you did? Maybe scouted the players a little bit, find out what you had on the roster?
Yeah, I did. I knew that we were going to have a pretty young team coming in, but I think that's the most exciting part, is that, you know, for them and me as well as a first-year coach, there's a lot of potential and a lot of areas for growth. So I really just kind of put myself back in their position and, you know, realize, how can I best serve them? How can I best help them as a coach? So having that experience from playing in college and being on a team that was, I guess if you could say, the underdog team, and really just being able to bring us out of the depths of that really kind of helped me gain some insight of how I can help these girls. So thought a lot about, you know, the mental game and how we approach things, how we handle adversity and change. I mean, these girls have been through a lot within the last year or so with a lot of coaching changes. So just really instilling core values. You know, we talk a lot about character and how we approach things and how we carry ourselves. I think that's the biggest thing. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind and a good ride so far.
All right, what was it like to coach your first meet then? You ended up placing 4th in the Tracy Lane. What was that like to be the head coach in your first meet?
It was very exciting, honestly. I mean, I had butterflies. It was like I was playing again, but it's like you're on the other side now. So I had to put myself in their shoes again, and I knew that they were excited and also nervous. So again, reverting back to the mental game and just kind of letting them know that it's a new year and we have the opportunity to really be a new team. And they had the chance to compete and let go of the expectations of last year and really just revamp this team and just make a statement. And we definitely did, being paired with some of the top teams. So it was a very good start.
All right. And tell us a little bit about some of the golfers that are on your team and what you've seen over the first 3 meets this year.
Yeah, so we, like I said, are a very young team. Got about 5 sophomores and 3 freshmen. And on my travel squad, we have, we got Bree Downey. She's also one of our team captains, and she had one of her best finishes this past tournament, 77-79. And then Lexi Bell, also a sophomore, she played really well this past tournament, and we looked at the growth from last season up until now, and we've made such a big jump, and it's only the beginning. And I've told them, we're just scratching the surface right now, and we've got 2 solid freshmen, Jessica Smith and Tony Baldwin. They've traveled to the tournament so far, and Jessica Smith had her a really good tournament down in Lake City, so it's exciting to see what this young group can do.
All right, and then you have a home meet that's coming up.
We do. So come out and watch at the Bridges this Sunday, 1 o'clock. So I think it would be good for us to get some support this week if we could.
So for this, I mean, how do people watch? Do they set up at like the 18, or where do they set up to?
Yeah, I mean, we could, walk alongside, have a group, a big group, like, watching Tiger Woods. But no, it'll be fun just having some support. Any support would be great.
All right, well, very good. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Report, and when we come back, Jessica Smith will join.
Loyalty to the Greenleaf name is dying, and it needs tending.
Good morning, Calvary! Welcome to the family.
Harmony and Hope will put Phil DeMars in the pulpit. I'm so tired of having this secret. I love you, James. As far as being in love, none of you care about me.
This sure don't feel like church.
The key to getting this church back?
We have to leave room for God.
People assume we choose this life. Sometimes this life chooses us.
An emergency is the crazy chaos of life. In those moments of darkness, we choose to live. Because nobody has ever been saved alone.
911 returns this fall. If you missed an episode, catch up anytime on demand or Fox Now.
This valley has more prisons than any other across America. Before the prisons took over the region, we had very few murders, but that has changed.
That monster killed my husband.
This was an assassination.
You killed my daughter.
They're getting away with it.
Prison Valley is a strange place where strange things happen.
Valley of the Damned, all new Tuesday at 10, only on ID and ID Go.
You can run for a long time. Sooner or later they'll cut you down. Sooner or later.
Come on out of the woods.
Gonna cut down.
You hear me? Push it down!
The woods tell the story of what happened.
And welcome back to Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. Jessica Smith is now here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your high school days in Lakeville. You played hockey, you played golf. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in golf and where that started.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird because no one in my family really golfs, because we were a big hockey family. Like I had 6 siblings, all of us played hockey. So it was about like 8th grade when like some kids from the high school like came down and said, "Oh, we have no one on the golf team. You want to join?" And I was like, like golf's. But then I went home and told my dad about it, and he was like, "Yeah, you should try it." And I was like, "Okay." So I signed up like that night, and then the practices started like a week later, and I didn't even own golf clubs. So like I had to use the coach's set for the first like week and a half. But yeah, that's kind of how I started. It was definitely not the best when I started, but we've been getting better throughout the years.
All right, so how much practice then went into getting ready for varsity meets and that sort of thing?
Yeah, a lot. We'd practice. When I first started, I only practiced like 30 minutes a day because I was like, I wasn't really into it that much. I was like, I want hockey, I want to hit people. Like, we were going for
Aggressive.
it. Yeah. But then when I started getting into it, I was like, I can actually I'm the person who can make myself better. I don't have to rely on like other people. So I started putting like 2 hours a day, and I'd take occasional days off because I didn't want to get burnt out. But like, definitely before like even college, I was like practicing like 2 hours a day and like working out and like making sure I was doing everything I could do to be like my best like golfer self before I came here.
All right. Did you ever do a Happy Gilmore shot?
Oh, of course. I used to when I first started, I used to hold it like a hockey stick. I didn't even connect my hands, but yeah.
And then from that to your senior year, a Miss Minnesota golf finalist.
Yeah.
What did you think when you heard that?
I was like completely shocked because like I knew I had like the scores, like they weren't the best like compared to like some of the people I was like nominated with because they were like even par, but like I was kind of there, so I was like super shocked that I even had the opportunity. I was like super humble about it. It was like such a cool opportunity to even be able to like consider myself part of like that group. Considering I've only been playing for like 5 years, and like everyone else that was like nominated have like been playing since they were like 4 and like dedicated all this time to it, and they're all very, very good golfers. So it was super cool to be nominated with them.
All right, and Tiffany, I want to ask you, bring you into this. As her first year as a collegiate golfer, what are some of the things that you want to try to teach her, and then find out about yourself as a coach before you coach her?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, being selfless, knowing that it's bigger than you. I know golf is an individual sport, but to really know that it's about the team and it's bigger than you, and to know that, it really, as cheesy as it sounds, you have to believe in yourself and believe in the mission of the team and really give it your all. And I think if we're a selfless team that works as hard as we can, then that's all you can do, and we'll be a good team.
All right, and then you were named the NSIC Player to Watch for Winona State. What did you think when you heard that one?
I was like, I didn't even know about it until one of the girls texted me and showed it to me. I was like super like surprised because there's so many good players on this team, and like just to be like able to play here was like a dream in itself. So like being nominated preseason was super cool.
All right, and how have your first meets gone this season?
The first one, not too good, but I was super nervous. I just didn't want to like let anyone down on the team. But I pulled it back together at Lake City and finished 5th, I think. So I was super happy with that. And then this last one, I played well, I just didn't score well, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we're getting there. Every tournament, we're getting a little bit better.
All right, and then what do you need to do between now and your next meet at Bridges to get ready for that meet?
Practice a lot. I need to practice on my putting a little bit, just lower the putting average to help the team. I think we'll do pretty well there. We have a big advantage practicing there because it's a really hard course. I think the turbo is going to have a struggle a little bit just because it's definitely a unique course. It's hard to walk, and I don't know. I feel like we'll have an advantage over them. So.
All right, and then how do you deal then with the break before the second half of the season?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think this is the time to like push harder and like definitely keep like giving it your all, because like this is the time where everyone starts to slow down, like get school done. But I would say work harder now more than ever and make sure we do our best.
All right, well, thank you both for joining us, and good luck in your next meet.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.